So back in August we went on holiday to Cornwall, and in this video we're going to talk about how much that all cost. So in this video we're going to talk about how much it cost to charge the car to go on our road trip down to Cornwall and back. And we're also going to tell you a little bit about why I don't give a monkeys about how much it cost. But let's just get into how much it costs to charge this car. So the first thing, we started the road trip with a full battery. So I'm just going to say, let's just say we charged it from 0, it was flat, and we charged it all the way to full at home. That cost us on our Octopus Go EV tariff that we have at home here. That was 72 kilowatt hours of electricity that we used overnight to charge that car. And that would have cost us £5.94. And I think actually in the video I got it wrong because we were using some other calculations. But yeah, it cost us £5.94 to charge the car. Now, where did that get us? That got us to Bristol. Now, it's been a bit unkind to say that 72 kilowatt hours got us to Bristol because we still had 14% battery left when we got to Bristol. So we didn't completely flatten the battery to get to Bristol, which is really impressive because this is the longest range EV we've ever had. So it's pretty impressive that we can get all the way to Bristol without needing to charge the car. In fact, we stopped once, didn't bother. So then we stopped at the MFG services, which are fantastic services in Bristol, just in Filton actually. For people who live there, they'll probably hit me for saying it's Bristol, but Filton, nice airplane museum if you want to go and see the Concorde actually. I've been there before. But we didn't go that time. We just charged the car and had some lunch. So the MFG services had a place to eat. Whilst we were eating, we put in 47.5-ish kilowatts into the car. We went from 14% to 80%, and that cost us £35. So you can see the difference between charging out there in the road and charging at home. It's way more expensive to charge out there, but we were paying for the massive convenience of it taking not very long. So 40 minutes while we had lunch and fretted about the journey because of all the problems on the roads. Actually, it could have taken more charge. We were there longer than the car was actually charging, and there was a little bit of a fault, not a fault, a misconfiguration because I hadn't set the slider on the charging menu to charge to the max, which is what I should have done. It was still set at charging only to 80%, so the car just said 80% and I've had enough. So we did learn our lesson there. That's just a little bit of learning because the car's a new car. So then we drove down. We had a hell of a time trying to get around the M5 and all the traffic there, and I'm sure you've seen that video, so I don't need to tell you all about that. But we did stop for 18 minutes to have a toilet stop and a fizzy drink stop. Couldn't get a cup of tea. I did want a cup of tea, but couldn't get a cup of tea. And we put in 13 kilowatt hours because why not? Because we were stopped there anyway having a drink, stretching our legs, using the toilet. So 18 minutes, we put in 13 kilowatts of electricity at the Genie Point charger, and that cost us £7.41. And that was the journey down. So the journey from Ipswich to through Bristol to Cornwall cost us a total of £48.35. And you know, that is, I think, pretty decent value. Now we did also travel around a little bit. We didn't do a lot of travelling, but we did stop at an Osprey charger whilst we were down there. Just to top it up, we put in £18 worth of electricity. Now the only thing about the Osprey charger is I don't know how much that cost because I did just tap my card and I didn't make a note of the thing, but it would have charged to about 80% again. but clearly it wasn't as empty because it only cost us 18 quid. And the public charges are all around the same kind of cost per kilowatt hour, around the 60, or they were when we were on holiday. They've changed now. Yeah, about 18 quid that we put in it there. Now on the way back, we then were going to go a different route, and we were going to go to Farnborough, to Legoland, see some friends, and then head home. So we've broken the journey up into a couple of legs, which was much more enjoyable, to be honest. So the first thing we did, we went to the Eden Project. That was the last thing that we were going to do in Cornwall. We spent 4.5 hours at the Eden Project, and in that time we put 31 kilowatt hours, just over 31 kilowatt hours of electricity into the car, and that cost us £15.56. So the car was just sat there for most of the day, I think from about 11 o'clock to about 3, something like that, whilst we had a nice time in the Eden Project. Chargers weren't particularly quick. It could have charged way more, obviously, if it had been a quicker charger. It was a 7 kilowatt charger, so not quick at all. Well, it's exactly the same as our home charger. So 31 kilowatt hours though, so that's still a decent charge, still a decent amount of charge. And then we headed up the A303 towards Farnborough, and we'd targeted an Instavolt charger at a restaurant because we wanted to, well, it was getting on, so we wanted to have some dinner before, because we knew we were going to get to the hotel quite late, and we wouldn't be able to eat there really with the kids, so we thought we'd grab something about 5-6 o'clock-ish on the way home. So we ended up getting to the Instavolt, the A303 diner, where there's a couple of Instavolt chargers there. We had 19% when we turned up, which is still pretty decent amount of charge, but we put 52 kilowatt hours into the car, and that cost us £33.80. And I think it was about 65p per kilowatt hour at those chargers at that time, which has probably all changed now. And then from there on, that got us to Farnborough. We stayed overnight. Then the next day we got up, went to Legoland, got to Legoland before it even opened, stayed the whole day at Legoland, got there until it closed, and then we headed over to a McDonald's to get some dinner. That had an Instavolt charger at that McDonald's, a couple of Instavolt chargers at that McDonald's, and we put in 43.1 kilowatt hours as we ate our McDonald's, which is about half hour or something, and that cost us £28.45. So and that was it. So that was it. We were done. That was all the charging that we needed to do to get us home. So we were, we were for that return leg, that return journey from Cornwall to home was £77.81. So the entire journey, and I worked out, we probably did about 897 miles on the journey, there, back, tootling around, seeing friends, etc. We spent £144.78. Now, the first time I looked at that, I thought, wow, that's quite a lot of money, and it is. But just to put that into perspective, when I took my Volvo to Cornwall a couple of years ago, and this is before all of these price changes, my Volvo would cost £100 to fill up with diesel, and we would have got down to Cornwall with that, and then we would have had to fill up at least once when we were down there. So the Volvo that we had last time, I'm sure you can get like a tiny little Citroen or something that will do 1,000,000 miles to the gallon, but the big old Volvo that we had, which is what we moved from essentially, we would have been looking at £200 at minimum for that journey there and back, and probably a little bit more, probably 200 and 250. Nowadays, I have no idea. I mean, I literally don't know how much diesel, petrol costs because I don't use it. So I've heard that it's going to cost the average person £100 to fill up the average car, so I guess like a Golf, with diesel. So if it's costing, I mean, the Volvo today, that probably means that it probably cost £175 to fill that car up. It had a big tank. So in terms of value, clearly for me, this is still fine, but it sort of misses the point. So it totally misses the point. If you're looking at these calculations going, oh well, you know, it's still a lot of money kind of thing, rapid charging and stuff. Yeah, but you don't use rapid chargers. Like I've had electric cars now since 2018, and we've used rapid chargers until this trip in August. We'd only used rapid chargers twice, and that was on the same trip. So, and one time to test if the Zoe was actually working, because of the problems that we were having. So 3 times since 2018 until this trip now. All of our other charging has been at home. All of the other charging that we have done has been at 5 pence per kilowatt hour, or now the prices have just slightly gone up, 8.25p per kilowatt hour. So, you know, on the old money, we would have been charging this car for less than a fiver. Now with the slightly more expensive overnight rates on Octopus Go, we're charging this car for £5.94. So for the whole year, we're going to be charging this car for £5.94, and then occasionally we'll go on holiday and it will cost us a little bit more money. Unlike a petrol or diesel car, where it costs you the same amount of money whatever you're doing. So the saving is in the rest of the year. You know, the rest of the year when you're not paying these huge amounts of money for your fuel. And that's just the economic side of it. And I've really never been in this from an economic point of view. I know some people have. I know some people say, well, I bought an EV because it's cheaper. Cheaper to run, cheaper to insure, cheaper to tax, cheaper to, you know, all whatever it is. I don't know. I did it from a sort of a moral standpoint, right? And also from a health standpoint. Like if my kids are standing around a diesel car chugging away, that's doing their health some harm. If they're standing by an electric car, it's not doing their health any harm whatsoever. There are no emissions going into their lungs and going into their blood and, you know, causing cancer or pre-cancer or anything like that. So, and also, you know, in terms of like politically, you know, the destabilizing effect of fuel being reliant on a certain like cartel is also not good. So that's kind of the reasons why I'm doing this, because I think it's better for my health. I think it happens to be better for my wallet. But ultimately, you know, I don't agree with paying money out to some sheikh who can then go and chop a journalist up in their embassy, which, you know, happens apparently. But that's how much it cost. It's just a quick video, just for those who kind of were interested, want to know how much the whole holiday cost us. But ultimately, it's kind of pointless really, because for the rest of the year, the car cost me £5.94 to fill up from empty. And that's if it doesn't fill up from my solar panels on my roof, which in summer can generate up to 25 kilowatt hours of solar during a day, and on a sort of off day they might generate 5 or 10 kilowatt hours of electricity, which can go into the car because I have a Zappi charger which allows me to take the excess solar energy from my roof and stick it into the car. So you know, it's not always going to cost me £5.94 to fill the car up. For half of the year at least, when it's sunny, then it's going to cost me a significant amount less. And I'll probably do another video about the lifetime values on my Zappi unit to see how much money in terms of kilowatt hours that has saved me in electricity. So that might be a future video that we look to do. Anyway, we shall end it there. I hope you enjoyed that small little video. And if you did, don't forget to like, share and subscribe. If you haven't seen the road trip journeys, which are, to be honest, much more interesting videos than this, head over and look at them now. But that's it for now. Don't forget to like and share and all that jazz, and we'll see you in the next one.